What is up, y'all? The game is here. I have my thoughts and it's a lot to get into, but I'm excited just like all the rest of you. But it's cautiously optimistic about this game, how it is now and how it's going to be in the future. So let me just start off by saying I played the beta. I was an early access participant. I bought the WBC Deluxe version. I have been playing the heck out of it over the past, day and a half, 2 days that it's been out. And I'm having a lot of fun playing the official release version of Undisputed. It is fun, and it is definitely an improvement on what the early access stage was. For instance, the punches actually sound and feel impactful. We have better fighter distinction, but there are still quite a few things that need to get cleaned up, adjusted, or fixed. Also, to let you guys know, I'm one of those type of people that like to get through the roster and divisions in this new state before I play online. I prefer to have that experience. So this video is not about online play. I think that's worthy of a video itself. So we have 81 fighters in the game and the vast majority of the models look really good. That's a task in itself, but they've done a good job with the fighter models. But did y'all see Munguia? Did y'all see Munguia? Munguia looks like the coming out of retirement version, like an older version of Munguia. He's still solid, still looks like Munguia. And also Munguia shouldn't be at lightweight. Munguia has never fought at lightweight and there's too many men's divisions to have him that low. I have no idea why he's there. Okay, let's start with the good. Like I mentioned, I'm having fun with this iteration. We'll continue to play, especially knowing the game is live now. And I know they're going to be all over getting this game where it needs to be. We know these folks are into the game and they're going to do whatever they can to improve it. So it's important that all y'all that are playing the game, get in there and give your freaking feedback and give it as if you're a fighter in the ring. And I know a lot of us haven't been in the ring per se, but I know we've all been in fights. Well, I can't say we all been in fights, but a lot of us have been in fights. I know I've put on gloves before. And we've been out scrapping because my friend, he used to box and we used to go out and do our thing out there. But either way, it's not the same as fighting in the ring. But I've been paying attention to boxing for so freaking long. I think I have a pretty good understanding of what makes sense and what doesn't. So the natural movement of the fighters definitely looks better. Everyone isn't cookie cutter. Punches do seem like they have more impact, but they need to address countering damage for sure. And I'm going to talk about that a little later. Venues look good. I like the zoomed in camera. That's the default. Although there were moments where I thought I was in position and the camera angle threw me off a bit. Commentary's a bit better. Every fight isn't expected to have a world title shot next. We all remember that, whoever participated in the early access stage. I would like to hear other commentary teams, and I know they have other commentary teams, and I do expect we will get some variety down the road. This is considered by all accounts, and we have to remember this, a season 0 launch. Not like season 1, season 0. So give your feedback, people. And let's get into the other side of this. And I want to start with what Coach's Corner stated should be done to Undisputed to take it to the next level. And I agree with all of that. The first thing he said was turn the diagonal dodge into a genuine roll to get under hooks. It works so-so at the moment, and that's 100% correct. The diagonal dodge needs to go. Fighters don't do this move as much as they roll under the punch. We need that roll. He mentions we need a solid feint mechanic. My issue is less with the feint mechanic and more with the feint button because I believe it needs to be adjusted. I need more options and configuration options where I can move that feint button to RB. I'm not a fan of it being on the D-pad, and I touch on that a little bit later. The third one he mentions simultaneous punching with my defense. Now you can weave and punch out of your weave, but you cannot block and punch with your defense. And that's something that you should be able to do as well. It's a very common tactic in boxing. I would like to see it implemented. And of course, maybe the damage numbers will be a little lower. If you are like just holding your guard up and then just trying to punch out of it, your damage numbers will be a little lower, but you should be able to do it. And the fourth one that he mentioned was bring back the inside fighting concept. 100%. I want to see that inside fighting concept come back. We saw it during ESBC. They showed us a little bit, and that was the same time they were showing us the black and white. So you can see like Joe Louis going against Rocky Marciano. I believe that was the matchup they were showing back then, or maybe it was Frazier and Marciano. That inside fighting mechanic, we want to see it. And it could be way down the road. It might be a couple years down the road. We don't know the roadmap, but I know I definitely want to see that in the game. In addition to Coach's words, I have a few more things I would like added to this list, and I'm going to hit on it as I go through this. The AI has improved. I'm telling you, at Undisputed, the AI is no joke. It's a lot more difficult on the Undisputed level, and that's how it should be. The AI will make you pay for almost every mistake you make. If you go in there swinging carelessly, I'm going to just tell you straight up, you will not win. Point blank, period. You're not going to win. I've also noticed fighters approaching fights differently based on how they fight as well, and also if they're maybe behind on the cards. That was good to see. I still do notice some habits that you can take advantage of as a player against the AI, But with it being boxing related, this could be intentional. The dev team just needs to make sure it's not consistent throughout all fighters. And now I've done so many AI matches, I do see some things that it's just like, okay, you're behind on the cards, you're going to push forward kind of thing. Or early on in the match, you can get away with a lot of easy counters. You just got to make sure you slip, or you feint and slip, or you just throw a jab and slip and then follow up with a straight. You can get away with a lot of that, at least early on in the fight. And sometimes later on in the fight. The AI is very adept at countering, so make sure you use all the tools available to you. And this is where being able to map my feint button, and I was telling you guys I want to get into that a little bit. It needs to be mapped. I want to map it to RB because I think it'd be helpful. Having that be on the left D-pad is not a good spot. I have to take my hand off of my left analog. It just needs to be better placement. There are also some annoying things about the AI as well. If you don't get a flash knockdown, it's difficult to get a knockdown on the AI in their kind of dazed state, because they easily push you away. I feel like they just push you away, and by the time you catch up to them, they've already recovered. And I haven't really figured out a way around that yet. So maybe I need a diagonal dodge or something. You guys, if you got any tips on that, let me know. And the last thing on the AI, I've played quite a few AI women's matches. You know what's weird? I kind of noticed that I swelled a lot and pretty easily, but I didn't get cut very much. But maybe that's just the matches that I were in, and it'll probably level out. That's nothing to be concerned about, because my opponents would get cut. Meanwhile, I would swell. And like I said, I don't think that means too much. I would like to see the health and stamina bars of the AI on Undisputed Casual mode, because right now I believe something isn't right. Something isn't right. Look at this, y'all. I was eating Katie Taylor up with Clarissa Shield, and she didn't even get dazed until conveniently at the end of the round. And then even later in the fight, she could throw all day long. I was like, how is her stamina that high? So if I'm playing Sim, I get it. I don't want to see anything. Don't show it. But if I'm on Undisputed Casual, I want to see it. Something just seems off there. Counter shots need a buff. We are not getting enough credit for counter shots. I had a fight with Wilder against Marciano, and I don't know who would stand up to all those shots in the first round. And he didn't even get dazed. And Marciano barely touched me. And I mean, I'm Wilder. But he's legit. I'm gonna talk about Wilder. I was countering him the entire round, but it seemed I got limited credit for catching him when he was exposed. So these counter shots, as I was talking about earlier, need to be adjusted. And one side note about Wilder, his power is freaking real. I laid an actual one-sided beatdown on this man, Marciano. It's hard for anyone to get close to him. You're going to have to work. So that means you're going to have to take some hits in order to get inside. And you got to hope he slows down. And I hope you have some immaculate defense too. So it's a lot of hoping with Wilder, I'm telling you, if you're facing Wilder. Now, the fact on Undisputed, I was able to easily open up Marciano and get him out of there in the second round on cuts says a lot. He's a problem in a good way, because that's how Wilder is. He is dangerous. Another thing, if my opponent doesn't move, I can't land the follow-up straight to the body. I'm not sure if anybody else has noticed this. I noticed it during the tutorial. I had no issues with the follow-up to the head. Like if I do jab and then a straight to the head, no issues. But anytime I did like a jab and a straight to the body, no dice. So anyone else notice this? Please let me know. Another thing I would like to see is an analog sensitivity slider where I can adjust the dead zone on my analog stick, because there are many times I just want to step back a little bit and then I hop back. So being able to have that dead zone would prevent things like that happening. An example of this is in For Honor, and I'm showing you right here. In fighting games, this is a much needed aspect, and with Undisputed, every movement can be the difference between you getting knocked out or potentially knocking someone out. So button mapping, customization, and analog dead zones are important features. I like the concept of prize fights as a way to get rewards. I just don't like the way we have to wait daily to do them. Either offer more prize fights daily or let us have a certain amount of attempts a day to play them and earn XP for our levels. There are many people that will never play this game online, and they should have a way to continuously play the game and earn XP in addition to the 3-fight selection of prize fights. So for the offline players, give them more. And one of the last bigger items that's needed in the game is improved customization options. A big part of a game like this is the style of your fighter or the fighters in the game. You can see that they will build on this, because you can see it's only, even when they have like 3 customization options, you can see you can have a long list of them there. And I'm not asking Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. to have tassels like he's Roy Jones Jr. or Boots Ennis once he's put in the game. We need those customization options for our creator character. I want to put in a hex code for the color instead of having limited color options. That's just one example I'm talking about. I do like how they put the year on the trunks of the fighters, because let's be honest, these days, bigger stars in the sport and most fighters in general are fighting maybe twice a year. So that's not a bad way of capturing it, and also lets fans know these were the actual trunks worn during a fight. So if you wanted to look up that fight through BoxRec or YouTube or whatever, you can do that. It's a nice touch. But they definitely need to work on getting us some good fashion options. I also notice I can barely hear my cornerman or woman. The volume settings have commentary volume and announcer volume, but I would like the corner volume turned up. They can do that internally. I don't need nothing special. Just turn that up. There are times where the punch animations clip and don't look as clean. While I'm okay with this happening in some games, this can't be happening in Undisputed. With the constant positioning, punching, and repositioning that occurs, it can throw you off. I'm sure they'll get that cleaned up, but when I throw a punch, it should go where intended and not noodle away in some weird way. I also feel like there's a delay from the time I stun an opponent to the time I can go after them while stunned. It makes the feeling of them getting stunned kind of anticlimactic because I can't jump on them like I want to. I don't know if it's me, y'all let me know. This might be something they need to address as well. And before I get out of here, I want to touch on some things they put in the patch notes for the 1.0 release. They mention that they've increased the short and long-term stamina cost for punches and further increased the stamina cost of missed punches, meaning you should pick your shots carefully and ensure you time your punches for accuracy if you want to prolong your stamina into those championship rounds. They also mentioned that they increased the damage of counter punches, and I think they need to reassess that because it's not enough. The problem with this lies later on in the patch notes for me is when they mention they've increased the speed of health generation for the short-term health and body health to make for high pace, high action rounds. Why would you do that? I think the players need to decide how high pace or high action these rounds are, and health regeneration needs to be looked at. The reason being is I believe this has an adverse effect on players who like to counterpunch and contributes to what seems to be a lack of damage that is being done by the counterpunch. If you adjust this area and not have stamina regenerate as fast, it can help players understand, I need to use my feints more. How do I set up this shot against this opponent? And things like that versus my hands are faster, I'll throw another one because I'm not really getting hurt. This is part of the balancing act SEI is doing, trying to make things fun for everyone. However, I believe it still can be fun, making those counterpunches punish players a little more. I'm not saying a lot, but at least a little. Those are just some of my thoughts on the game out the gate. There's definitely some good here, and with some technical fixes with punching and movement, as mentioned earlier, this game will give you more control, more of a sim feeling, and it still will be fun for fans of fighting games because it has all of the elements that you will need to understand how to be great. So let me know what your thoughts are on Undisputed in the comments below and any changes that you recommend. Thank you for tuning into this video. There are many videos you can tune into, and you tune into this one today. I appreciate that. That's all I have for this one. Till next time, peace.
They've been beaten so badly this fight, you almost hope that it stopped, and it is. It is over. TKO victory.
I was getting a little anxious there. It's a career-ending fight.
Well, Johnny, how do you rate the performance after this stoppage win?
A TKO. The argument's going to rumble.